Hi, this is Troxel. In today's tutorial we're going to take a look at the preferences that are available in Vegas. So if you go to File, Preferences, and look at the various tabs there, those are actually what we're going to be looking at and how to access most of them via a script. In this particular case, we're just going to see how that we would read the values, but you can also set most of these values as well. So this script we're not actually going to run because it doesn't actually do anything in that it only reads the variables, but this will at least show us how to access where these are found. So when we go to File Properties, you will see that we have many entries here that can be changed. Let's see how we would access the things on this tab. Once again, all of this stuff is the same. We don't need to worry about any of that. But all we're going to be doing is reading the various parameters. So to access the stuff on the video tab, we would go to myvegas.project.video, and then we will have whatever parameter it is that we're looking for. So the first one we're going to look at is .width, and that is an integer that you would assign to just an integer variable. The second one is height. That is also an integer. The next one is the deinterlace method. For the deinterlace method, you have to use the variable type video deinterlace method. When you assigned a new value, you would see that when we hit the dot, we've got blend fields, we've got interpolate fields, we have none, and so there are several different options we can choose as the deinterlace method. The next one is the field order. That will be of type video field order. Next we will look at the frame rate. That will be of type double. The pixel aspect ratio is also a double. Then we get the pixel format, which will be of type pixel format. Once again, if we type in pixel format, that we can choose floating 32-bit, float 32-bit full range, integer 88-bit. All the various values are available here. Next is the motion blur type, and that will be a variable of type motion blur type. Then we have our output rotation, which will be of type video output rotation. You can also change the HDR mode, which will be a variable of type HDR mode. The pre-rendered files folder, that will be of type string. Next we have our video render quality, which will be of type video render quality. Then we have our stereo 3D mode, which is of type stereo 3D output mode. And then the last one we have is T360 output, which will be of type T360 output. There are a few other things you can select here. Once you get to the video and you press dot, you will see many other things are available here. So like we could set the stereo 3D swap, set the stereo 3D crosstalk cancellation. Those are commands that can be called. The match project settings with media, you could call that and pass it a media, and it would match the project settings based on that media. Or you can do a match project settings with file, just call that with a string to the file path, and it would match it to that file. Then down here we had 3 set commands. You'll notice up here we have the corresponding get commands as well. Then if we move from the video tab over to the audio tab, these are some audio parameters that we have that we can change. First of all is the audio bit depth, which is of type unsigned integer. Then we have the sample rate, which is also an unsigned integer. Then we have the resample quality, which is of type audio resample quality. Next is the recorded files folder, which is a string. Now we have the master bus mode, which is an audio bus mode variable. Next is the low pass filter cutoff frequency, which is an unsigned integer. This is the low pass filter enabled, which is a Boolean. And then finally the low pass filter quality, which is of type low pass filter quality. On this next tab we have ruler settings. The first setting is a beats per measure. That is an unsigned integer. Then we have a beats per minute, which is a double. We have a beat value, which is of type beat value. Then we have .ruler.format, which is the format of the ruler, and it's a variable of type ruler format. And then we have the start time for the ruler, which is a time code. Moving on to the summary tab. These are all strings, so we can change the artist, the comments, the copyright, the engineer, and the title to be whatever strings we want them to be. Then we have the audio CD tab. It only has 2 entries on it. First is the first track, which is an unsigned integer. Next is the UPC, which is a string. Beyond the project properties, we can also change this information here based on how the preview is going to work. So let's take a look at those. For the preview settings, we can actually look at the field order, which is going to be of type video field order. We can look at the frame rate, which is a double. We can determine whether or not it's using full size, and that is a Boolean. We can look at the height and the width, which are both integers. The pixel aspect ratio, which is a double. Then we look at the preview size, which is of type video preview size. And we can also look at the render quality, which is of type video render quality. Now this is kind of neat in that you can actually change the preview mode you're looking at with the script. So suppose sometimes you want it on good auto, sometimes you want it on best full, sometimes you may want some other settings. Here's a couple of examples of how that could work. So if we want to set it to preview auto, then we would change the render quality to video render quality dot preview, and we would change the full size to false. If we wanted it on best full, then we would change the render quality to best, and we would change full size to true. So just a little 2-line script, and you can actually change your preview render quality back and forth between multiple different types. So as you can see, there are a lot of settings that we can adjust directly from the script. And so you could actually set up a script that could start a new project and based on whatever settings you wanted to, and it wouldn't have to necessarily be your default settings that you normally use. This is also used by scripts such as the Vegas Stream import script, which imports the streams from Vegas Stream. It will set the project properties to match the stream size. So that is another good use for how this can be used. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.